already live. Hello, everyone. I'm Emiliano from lovemusic, and this is our fifth and last installment of Premiers in Private Places, which is a project that we thought of doing during lockdown, and that it has spanned throughout the summer, and it involves us commissioning 5 different composers to do work for the collective. And what we thought about was to, well, it all came from the thought of like trying to keep active, trying to keep productive and creative during this time. And we didn't want to just like recreate a concert in like a concert setting without any public, because we thought that would be a bit weird. And there was like a lot of like different information, a lot of information online and concerts and live streams and things like that. And we thought that it would be a good idea to sort of work with the situation and so produce something that is sort of catered to the circumstances in which we would create something that is visual and with sound, and taking consideration that we're all apart from each other, that we can't get together to play or to rehearse or anything. And so we decided to work with 5 different composers. For some of them we have worked with before, some of them we haven't. And so for the last one we have Cameron Graham, who is here with me in, where are you?
I am in Selsey, which is a village outside of Chichester in the UK. I'm at home.
Okay, and so I'll let you introduce yourself.
Okay, I'm Cameron Graham. I'm a composer and artist. I'm based in the UK. I also travel a lot for projects. Yes, I'm in a place where I work most of the time. Yeah, that's me, simply.
Okay. So we met in person at the beginning of this year, because you came to one of our concerts here in Strasbourg with the Poet Mechanic.
With the Poet Mechanic, yes. You contacted me and asked if I could bring a Poet Mechanic, my Poet Mechanic, to Strasbourg to work with you guys. So yeah, we had a wonderful time installing this beautiful hybrid sound object in the middle and the beginning and at the end of your awesome concert. It was great.
Yeah, it was quite magical, actually.
Yeah, totally.
Okay, so how, if you want to talk about a little bit about how you've been living this weird period since March.
This weird period. When the lockdown happened everywhere, I was here. My partner, 2 days before the lockdown, my partner flew back to Moscow to go and pop back and get her visa, and of course was locked into Russia for 5 months. So we sadly had to spend 5 months apart. I had not particular, but I was completely alone for at least 3 months, I think. I really didn't see, I didn't see anyone physically. I saw some neighbors out the window, but they were 60 to 70 years old, so stayed away from me. We had these sort of quite surreal encounters where I would awkwardly wave and just see them scuttle off to their house. And so yeah, I spent 4 months with the seagulls. Started off quite productive. and then sort of, yeah, as it did for a lot of people, I think it became just quite existential. And then a project that had been postponed in Austria with the Schaufeld Ensemble in Graz was we found a way of moving 2 months of the project to later. So then I made it back to Austria for mid-July, and we had the premiere last month. And then I came back, and I'm back here now.
Okay, good. And so during all that time, were you like, how did it did it affect in any way the way you work, or like your creative process, or were you able to do a lot, or not at all, or how was it? Was it for you?
Thinking back now, actually, it was incredibly, no, I don't want to say incredibly fruitful, but I sort of started to, one of the first things I did was to sort of try and continue as normal. Like, you know, I've got a thing going on here. I'm doing a PhD in the UK, so I had some projects related to the doctorate that I was trying to sort of continue. Yeah, I think just the isolation just became naturally quite heavy, and it became harder to sort of think every day. It became really difficult to just connect with an idea for more than 5 minutes. And so I think I spent a couple of weeks just trying to like shed that feeling, you know, trying to just move through it and sort of see a future, you know. But then right in the middle of lockdown, I sort of naturally, I just woke up one day and started to think about how I could sort of just work where I am. And I live in a bit of a strange place. I live on a caravan site. There are thousands of caravans around me. It's like it's a resort. It's just endless boxes in any direction you look. The sea is just over there. And I started to use sort of some like architectural software to, I thought, oh, I'll just play around and just redesign my house, you know. So I redesigned my house in this architectural software. I made a sort of 3D simulation of my house, and that completely snowballed into building the entire site, which took up like a huge amount of time. It was a wonderful distraction, sitting every day, all day, just, you know, just making without thinking, you know, having like Gilmore Girls on in the background. It was great. So I think in terms of how it affected, yeah, I think just the isolation, you know, I think for all of us, like on one hand, it allows you space that you probably wouldn't have had if you're an incredibly busy person. But if you're naturally quite isolated, you know, it of course can make it just heavier and harder. So I think both of those were happening for me at the same time. And I'm not saying thanks to the situation, but I guess because of the situation, I've sort of started something quite large as a result of it, a sort of quite large project, a part of which is the piece today.
Yeah, which takes us to the piece today. So piece today is called 1517.
Lot number 1517. Yes. So the idea is that it's a fictional site. As I was talking about, it's with the virtual simulation idea. There are 1,516 caravans here. And so when I was thinking about the piece for you guys, I was thinking about the idea of all of us being situated in a space. And from my end, I wanted to sort of make something that was bespoke for you guys. Also being aware that if I was to notate a work for you, I kind of struggled with the idea of receiving audio from you guys and producing that, and how that would work, and the liveness, and even questions of synchronicity were a very complex thing to do, actually. So with this, where I started was to make a fictional love music caravan, design it bespoke for you guys. You know, I spent quite a bit of time with you, with Adam, with Christian. So I was sort of, I designed a space that I imagined you guys inhabiting, virtualized it, and yeah, and then sent it to you guys and along with a text score with very simple instructions, hopefully very simple. We didn't actually talk about whether they were overly complex, but as simple as possible. And the idea was just to receive your interpretation of it. And receive your interpretations as individuals in private spaces. I mean, Winnie was in one space, Lola was in another space, you were in another space, Christian with his son was in another space. So yeah, that's where it went. That's where it sort of started. That was the first stage of it. And then the next stage of it was I sent it to a very good friend and incredible Moscow-based producer called Felix Makensky. And I asked him to, in his own private place, to interpret the work as he wished. He's an incredible musician, amazing artist, and I just sort of gave him free rein and said, remix it however you want. You can do whatever you want. Just interpret it in the same way you guys did with recording yourselves, you know, experiencing the work.
But did you send him like the separate parts, or you did like first like master and then he remixed it?
Yeah, exactly. So I received the audio files from you guys. I sort of did like a dry master, just a sort of stereo mix of it, and then I just sent him the video and audio as one thing. Didn't even ask whether he had the technology. I didn't even know what he'd be using. Just you do whatever you want with it. And yeah, and then a couple of days later, he sent me back something astoundingly beautiful, which very interestingly, which the first reaction to what he had sent was that it was almost the antithesis of what I would have done, which I found beautiful, fascinating. He took something that I felt had like quite a grounded narrative, or at least is quite a simple, not a simple thing to understand, but on experiencing what I had done, I would imagine it's within maybe 30 seconds, you sort of you really understand what's going on. Whereas what Felix sent was just off the charts in terms of how beautifully abstract it was. Which was a gorgeous shock.
It's funny you say about that. You talk about it because actually, like sort of like as one of the members of Love Music and having done all the previous ones, when I got this one, I was a bit surprised. I mean, it was a nice surprise throughout the whole process, in the sense that everyone like really interpreted the commission in a very personal way and very differently. Like some people sent like scores, some people sent just instructions, some people sent some people asked for videos and recordings of instruments and sounds. And what surprised me at first with yours is actually that, two things, which I found very interesting, that just as you said at the beginning, that the piece is for the performers, the composer, and the producer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Sort of it adds an extra layer to what had been with the previous ones, and the fact that none of us was asked to use their instruments, and none of us did. And for me, it's sort of like highlighted the fact that, and that is something that I think we try to also put forward in the collective, is that we're not only instrumentalists, that we're not just musicians, and that we're interpreters. And the fact that you also, I don't know if that was your your intention, is that we're not attached to our instruments, and we can still be part of something like create a piece by performing in a different way.
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, that was the kind of driving force behind what I asked you guys to do, is that you're performers. And for me, like, especially in my recent work and in a lot of projects in the last couple of years, you know, it's becoming more and more blurry in terms of, you know, contemporary music, new music, music as a whole, what the role and what the agency and what the potential, and all these questions about what a performer can do. First of all, that I can't, etc., etc., all these questions. But what I found really interesting in response to what you just said, you know, not being attached to your instruments, the recordings that you sent back were, I mean, they were so different in terms of how you all interpreted the same thing. They could not have been more different. I mean, Winnie's in particular was, it had this like joy to the experience. Like, I listened to it and I was like laughing, but then the same with yours, because the way you were noticing things that you recognized, the poet mechanic being one of them, etc., etc. And then Lola, for example, was incredibly inquisitive, like really trying to understand, what on earth am I even doing here? Not, yeah, like what is this? Like really trying to understand like the sort of fabric of what the experience was. So, I mean, that you all as performers, actually, I was really pleasantly surprised that your characters came out in such a simple task. It was really, yeah, super, yeah, pleasantly surprised.
Cool. I don't know what else to say.
Well, I guess, yeah, if we were to, yeah, I think that's kind of it about the piece, really. I mean, what I would say in terms of the resulting work, it is, we spoke before that it is sort of a part of a much larger project. It's like one node in this entire project that's building and building. And I guess what the audience will see is, and hear, is very much like the result, I hope, is really a blurring between my own mix and film and Felix. Felix created something that was like slightly longer, which is not a problem. Everything was of different duration, but and it was just totally not what I expected in the best of ways. So I did think whether to, on an extreme end of it, to just give that as the final product, give what Felix had done to sort of create, like, you know, give the seeds to all of you, and then just accept the result. But then spent a day sort of really blending the two, or trying to blend the two. So the result is very much like, I see it as a kind of like, it's like an oniric phasing between two kind of virtual spaces, you know. And it was really, yeah, I'm quite pleased with it.
And so, so with this project that you've been doing about building all the all the site, like this being a like sort of like like emanated from that. So do you have other like projects that are also coming out from that?
Yeah. I mean, during the first project that manifested actually was a piece for piano and electronics, which I did in June before I went away to Austria. We have yet to record it, etc., for obvious reasons, properly. But that was the first audiovisual like rendition of the project. And then I have a lot of plans for how to expand it. Yeah, there's endless plans. It's something I think will probably go on for a very long time and get bigger and bigger, and more absurd, more poetic, and also more, hopefully more, for want of a better word, like more real. It's, you know, the core of this whole project is a virtual rendering of a real space, sonically and visually, I have to add. Like in the early stages of this, I was taking field recordings, walking around the site. The few people that were here, there were, I think, 20 people out of a potential like 10,000 or something, 5,000. Of the few people that were here, I was like sort of sneaking up, recording them, and they were embedded into one piece where, yeah, you sort of, as you move around this space, you sort of hear, you know, you have this like inklings of domesticities coming from these virtual spaces. So yeah, there's a lot of potential for it.
Real spaces, virtual spaces that become real spaces.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, yeah, exactly. Yeah, virtual real estate. I told you before. It's yeah, that's the new thing. Yeah, in 5 years' time, we'll be selling virtual caravans from a caravan site. That's the idea.
Cool, great. Well, just want to thank you for this little chat, and also for the piece, obviously. I think we all enjoyed it, and we really enjoyed taking part of it. And hopefully we'll get to do more stuff together, because it's really nice working with you. And so we'll be just before premiering the piece. I would like just to remember everyone that if you've missed the other ones, you can always go to our website. There's a page on the project page that takes you to old videos. You can watch the interviews separated from the videos, and all the videos listed there. 5 of them. Well, this one will be there very soon. And so a bit of good news this weekend in Frankfurt. In an exhibition alongside with a concert from the Collective of Music. So we're really excited about that, to be able to share it also with a live audience, actually, although it will still be on a screen. So without further ado, here it goes. Bye, Cameron.
Bye, Annie.